Hello, TechZulu people. We've just taken over your feed. It's Rick from New Media Expo, and I'm here with Martin from Cox Communications. So, Martin, tell me exactly what you're doing with Cox.
Right now, I'm focusing on a project called Cox Blue, and Cox Blue is based around a website of content where we really want to help small to medium-sized businesses grow their business, develop their business in the digital marketing space and in social media.
Now, you and I actually met here in Las Vegas at Blog World and New Media Expo at the time. What year was it?
I actually started coming to the very first Blog World. I had
2007.
Yes, I had some friends that worked with Pajamas Media.
Friends of ours too.
Yep, I had a little Homeland Security blog. Wasn't doing much with it. It was just kind of a personal passion of mine. They were doing quite well at Pajamas Media and talked to me about coming out. I wanted to learn more about WordPress. I was playing around with it, and I thought, well, this will be an opportunity. And we're close to Las Vegas. Let's go ahead and go out there.
So I remember that meeting in 2007, and the Pajamas Media guys were actually kind of an inspiration for me to start this show. You know, what they did in the elections back then, which really kind of changed the person who won the presidency that year. It was a big deal, and you know, a guy from CBS made fun of them. A bunch of guys in their garage, in their bedroom in their pajamas. Next thing you know, Dan Rather's out of a job, and Pajamas Media is born. So getting to my question now. So since that time, now you're here doing interviews for Cox, and you told me, you know, you're just curious about new media then. So tell me what's transpired. Tell me the story you just told me off camera before we walked over here.
Well, I came to that event, and I was here for a couple days. I really hadn't planned so much on attending the conferences. I knew what I wanted to do, and I was kind of doing my own thing. I thought I'll sit in some of these rooms and listen. And I watched some of the different speakers and listened to them, and several of them really stood out, and it lit a spark. I remember going home with my wife and saying, I want to be a blogger. I'm going to be one of those guys. I want to be one of those guys up on stage. I want to be talking about this stuff. This is amazing. And we thought, you know, at that time with this little blog, had no idea what social media was going to become, had no idea what blogging was going to become. And we just continued to grow and grow and grow with it and watch the readership and those different things grow. At that same time, within my job at Cox Communications, I was working in marketing. I was primarily a web developer, and we started looking more at, this is something we need to get into. We started watching it and saying, you know, we should be paying attention to this. As a result of that, I ended up coming out to Phoenix, Arizona in a sales position, because I'm primarily a sales guy. And I was in sales operations for a couple of years. And we talked several times about kind of shifting back over into marketing. There were some things they wanted to do with social media. They saw some opportunity there. And we had some leadership come in, talk to them more and more, finally made the shift, went over to the marketing department and social media with Cox there in Arizona, and just had I had a great VP. Jen.
So real quick, I want to tell you how, because I know you want to be politically correct for the job, but you told me you got a new boss. Yeah. And he told you, I'm going to let you do whatever you want. I'm going to give you a budget.
Right. But as we talked about it, he says, you know, here's what I need to do. I need to increase our sales online by the end of the year. And what we're going to do is we're going to open the reins. We're going to free it up. We're going to let you do what you have to do to drive this business. Provided that you can promise me by the end of the year, we're going to hit our goals. We're going to hit our objectives. And I said, if you'll do that, I'll make sure we hit it. And he opened the doors, and just a great guy. He let us really dive into Facebook. He let us dive into Twitter. He let us do some things with YouTube. We started doing live watch parties. That's what, you know, Dana White is here. How we met Dana in UFC. We started doing live watch parties for the events for UFC. And we watched all these efforts that we were doing in social media and this new media marketing. We watched things start to grow, and they grew rapidly. It wasn't something that we, you know, 2 or 3 years later, it was literally in months we started seeing the results of it. As a result of the growth there, the company started moving in that direction. They had us take over additional marketing campaigns with other systems, with other field systems, so that by the end of the year, we were really taking the same philosophy and driving it across all of our systems nationally within Cox for our final holiday campaign. As a result of all this growth and the things that we start seeing, these other systems starting to adopt it, Cox started a social media department at the corporate level. They brought in a gentleman by the name of Adam Nade, who was in charge of fans for CNN, really knew the business, knew it well, was in love with social media, saw where he could take Cox. He came in, assembled a team together, brought me back to Atlanta as part of that team, and we started really focusing on social and driving it as a business. And Cox has now gone to the point, in a relatively short period of time, where we have about 750,000 followers on Facebook. We're very active in social media. We have a full team. We started looking this year at what can we do with social media in Cox business, another part of Cox. And we said, you know, what we looked at is we really want to have thought leadership in Cox Business and really help businesses and give back to that business community, small to medium-sized businesses. We thought, what if we could give back to them in the same way of what we've learned, of what new media and what digital media and social media can do for our business? What if we could teach that to others? And so we put together the website Cox Blue, and we launched it in May of last year. If you look at the site, you'll see a lot of the contributors of people that I've met here through Blog World and are here at these events. They started contributing to the site, and we started putting the content up there, and we've just been amazed with what the site's done over the last few months, just since May. And so in just the last couple of months, Cox has again created another new position within Cox Business, and it's a social media manager's position for national social media strategy and tactics for the company on Cox Business site. I'm in that role, still with my same boss, which is great. Like I said, very supportive. It's great to be at a company where they really support these new technologies and the new social media and new media.
So Cox, short version is Cox has grown from just a content distributor. You guys are now content creators.
Absolutely, and we really focus on content. You know, one of the things that we really talk about right now within like our staff meetings and when we're trying to organize and put things together is not just creating content, but creating quality content. We want to make sure that each piece that we put out there, whether it be a YouTube video or a Tumblr blog or a post on Facebook or an image or a YouTube video, we want to make sure that that's quality. You know, we look at, first of all, ourselves from a team and say, is this something that I would share? Is this something that I would talk about? Is this something that's important to me? Is it important to the people around me that they would share and they would like? So we really tried to make sure that it's quality content going out there also.
So it sounds to me, I mean, Martin, that's why I brought you over. It sounds like New Media Expo has really kind of changed your life.
Absolutely, it was a catalyst. My wife and I have talked that. She's right over here. We've talked about that a number of times. That I was a sales guy. That was my background, and I did some web development on the side. But she said, "Did you ever think you would be doing this? This would be your career. That you'd be the social media guy." I had no idea, but I love it. I mean, it's great to wake up every morning and get to do what you're passionate about and really enjoy and love doing.
And it's obvious you're passionate about this. You were just telling me the same thing when you were interviewing me on the other side of the hall. What would your advice be to somebody else who works for a traditional media company when it comes to new media? Would you advise them to come to New Media Expo, or what other kind of advice would you give them?
Absolutely. I think it's really critically important that people come to these type of events. I think from two standpoints. One, the educational aspect. Like I said, I walked into a seminar room, I sat down there, I can tell you it was Jim Krukel that was speaking. And he was talking about being the expert, being the voice, being the authority in your space, in your niche. If your niche is pottery, be the best voice for pottery that there is, or whatever that niche is. And I got excited by those things because I thought, what, I'm interested in some things that maybe a lot of people, Homeland Security, a lot of other people might not be interested in, but I thought it's interesting to me, and what if I could be that voice for that little niche? And then I started meeting other people that were the voice in their niche, and I thought, this is exciting, and what you can do and get other people together to talk about these things. The other standpoint, other part of that would be just the opportunity to network. We talked about this, you'd mentioned it. I don't know of any other event like this where you will find all the same people in one room and be able to network and be able to walk up to people like a Mari Smith or a Jay Bear. All in this room, they're all here. They're willing to share their ideas with you. They're willing to listen to you and to listen to your story and give you advice and talk to you and help you and guide you. And I think as a catalyst, there's nothing better than this as a catalyst to drive people. Whether you are just starting out or whether you've been in business for years, this is the place to be. It'll re-energize you and get you excited about what you're doing.
Martin, thanks a lot for the time, and thank you to the TechZulu folks for letting us take over the feed for a couple of minutes here. I just wanted to share that story because, again, as you were mentioning to me when we were over there after we did our little interview, and I remember the day that we met, and your life's completely different from that day.
It's completely different, and I had never dreamed that I would be doing something so exciting, having so much fun doing it, and just every morning I'm just as excited to wake up tomorrow morning to go to work as I am the first day I started, and it's just exciting. It's great.
Thanks again, Martin, and thanks to the folks at TechZulu again.